Welcome to the place where we can talk about TV. Let's do some news. First thing I wanted to talk about was PlayStation's first show, Powers. I saw a bunch of trailers for this a while ago and didn't really pay much attention to it, but recently they've released a video giving like an inside look to the production and the premise of the show, which was great for me because this is based off of a comic that I was not familiar with at all. And now I'm actually pretty excited about this. First of all, Charlton Copley as the good guy and Eddie Izzard as the bad guy. I'm pretty much sold already. But the premise of the show sounds really interesting. It sounds really cool. It takes place in a world where people just have superpowers. Well, not everyone, like some people have superpowers and they do pretty much whatever they want with them. Just like in our world, people who have fame sometimes misuse it or do bad things with it. So Copley plays this detective that works for the Powers Division of the LAPD. He used to have powers himself, but they were somehow taken away from him, and that kind of humbled him. And I really like it when I can see a character transform in a show, like Arya in Game of Thrones or Glenn in The Walking Dead. They start the show as one character, and then after a few seasons or after a few episodes, they're this completely different person, but you buy it because you've been there throughout the entire transformation. So I'm thinking we might be getting like a really good transformation story with this guy. So anyway, the Powers Division is this division of the LAPD that handles superpowers related crimes. And the comic book itself is rated R, so this is supposed to be this dark, violent kind of show. So maybe if they've done it on one of the networks, they would have constraints that they don't have. Just like on Netflix, on PlayStation, they could do pretty much whatever they want. And it looks really good. You can find the link to the inside look video down below. It's going to be available on the PlayStation Network only, unfortunately, on March 10th, which is pretty soon. Amazon has picked up a full season of The Man in the High Castle. I don't know if you watched this pilot on Amazon's pilot season, but it was really good. Amazon has taken pretty much the same approach as TV networks do, where they have like a pilot season, and the pilots that do well go to series. But the fact that these pilots are on the internet and you can watch them for free makes it that only really good shows or potentially really good shows actually get picked up. So good system. I still prefer the Netflix system. Just roll the dice, take a bet, and release everything at once. Even though I read an article that Netflix doesn't really take bets, that they can pretty much predict what's going to do well and what's not going to do well. That they saw that people who liked the original House of Cards also liked movies directed by David Fincher and movies starring Kevin Spacey. So they actually made the remake of House of Cards starring Kevin Spacey, directed by Kevin Fincher, and it's amazing. So The Man in High Castle got picked up. It's going to go to series, and a bunch of other shows got picked up as well. Mad Dogs got picked up, but this really is the one to know. It's based on a Philip K. Dick novel, which is like an alternate history novel where Germany and Japan won World War II, and the plot takes place about 20 years after, where the world is pretty much split between Germany and Japan, and a fascist movement is controlling the US, but there are like tensions between the Axis countries, and it's about a bunch of Jewish people living in the US under assumed names. And well, you should really watch the pilot because it was pretty intense. And if the rest of the show is going to be like that, I'm all for it. It's going to be available later this year, so we don't have a specific date yet, but it does look like I'm going to have to get an Amazon Prime subscription. My battery just totally died on me. You may not know this, but I have actually traveled through time an hour into now, the future, to continue making this video. Okay, moving on. Kind of lost my thread. I lost it. I lost my thread. I love it when shows decide to do something a little different, especially shows like sitcoms where every episode is pretty much the same. Doesn't matter what you do. It can be a good show, but every episode has to follow a formula. So every episode looks and sounds and feels pretty much the same. So Modern Family, one of the better sitcoms out there in my opinion, is gonna air an episode that was shot completely on iPhones and iPads. They say that Apple is not paying them for product placement, and already people are like, ugh, fuck these guys, it's just bullshit Binge. Well, why the fuck would you care if it is? If it gives you a cool special episode of a show that you like, then I just don't see the issue. I don't see the problem. You spend hours watching Super Bowl commercials on YouTube, but this is bullshit? Anyway, the episode's gonna be about Claire. She's stuck at the airport and she's just had a big fight with Haley, and she's trying to reach her by whatever means modern media will provide her, like Facebook and FaceTime and whatever. And the whole episode's gonna take place on Claire's desktop, on her MacBook. So actually all you're gonna see is Claire's screen, which they actually had to rebuild with motion graphics to make it look better on, to make it look good on bigger screens. So I think it's really cool that a lot of work actually went into this, into like doing something that's different, doing something that's special. This is probably gonna be one of those episodes where you have to watch it like a bunch of times to get all the jokes, because they're probably going to have like a lot of visual jokes, and they've said the episode has a lot of Easter eggs for hardcore fans of the show. So the episode's going to be titled Connection Lost, and it airs February 25th. That's next week. So I'm actually going to do just this last thing out of fear that this battery is going to die out on me pretty soon as well. There's this video that's been going around of Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul reading parts of the script for Breaking Bad's finale. Even if you were finished with Breaking Bad like months ago and you're over it, it's gonna take you right back into that place, and it just might make you cry. Obviously, major spoilers. Don't go anywhere near that video if you haven't watched the entire thing. And if you haven't watched the entire thing, who are you? Why are you doing literally anything else? So this was kind of a short one. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe so we could talk about TV some more next time. And I'd love to know what you think about any of the shows that I discussed today. Have a good day, night, week, morning, afternoon.